Good evening and welcome to the June 12th meeting of the Beavercreek Parks, Recreation and Culture Board. We've officially called this meeting to order and we'll start with the roll call, please, Jackie.
Mr. Corbett.
Here.
Mrs. Meyer.
Here.
Mrs. Fulcher.
Here.
Mr. Tips.
Here.
Mrs. Heaton.
Here.
Great, thank you, Jackie. Next, we move on to the approval of the minutes, and you have before you minutes from our May 8th meeting. If you've had a minute to review those or want to take one, I will accept any motion.
I make a motion to accept them.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor of accepting the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. So that moves us up to our guest speaker. And we have with us former council member or board member, Sandy Falk, who's going to give us an update on the cultural connections.
Right here, I guess.
Right here.
Okay.
It's a different view from the podium than it is
Yes,
up
it
here.
is. I don't know if I like that as much, though, but ooh, kind of scary.
But thank you for coming, Sandy.
Yeah. Well, first of all, hello to everybody that I know already. I would just like to give you an update on the Cultural Arts Connection, what's going on with it. We just had a meeting. We've had a couple meetings, and things are going pretty well. So I wanted to just get you caught up on what we're doing. First of all, just to remind you, our mission statement was to encourage, initiate, and facilitate an enriched artistic, cultural, and creative environment in Beavercreek. And then we had 3 goals: to promote and support the arts already in Beavercreek, and 2, to create more diversity in programming in the arts, and 3, to provide opportunities for artists to work, share, and perform. So that's kind of what we're going for. We have 6 people on our board, very, very good workers. And our first thing that we've done just recently that I hope some of you know about, and I do have some papers for you here. We just have our first art exhibit at the gallery at Lafino Plaza. We had this, Yuki Hall is our first artist. And this was arranged by Susie Scott, one of our board members, and Tabitha Guidone helped her with a lot of the art part of the posters and things. The reception was Thursday, and we had, we said 30 to 40 people, we think, that showed up for it. Very beautiful pictures. If you haven't seen it yet, please go. She will have these on display all through June, until June 30th. And these follow the senior center hours. So you just go during those hours and you can see them. And they're in that unassigned space that we all had a tour of.
Yeah, I was going to ask. Okay.
Last year. And it's really nice. So she has some things, and they are for sale, but what we're trying to do is we don't want to, have a sale there. We want to show you what the price would be if you wanted to buy it, but then you connect with her yourself. We don't have her there. She was there for the reception, and probably that will be it. She may be back with some friends or something, but they were beautiful pictures. Also, that is going to go on every month. So we're going to have a different artist. We have a photographer coming up fairly soon, Bill Woody, some of you may know. I know Dan does. Anyway, he is going to present. A lot of people want to do this. So Susie Scott already has a list of Beavercreek people that want to do this. So that is coming up. The other thing that we're working on is I have this, it's called Beavercreek Alumni Series. And since I was a teacher for so many years, I have a lot of people I know that, and I know what they're doing in the arts. And since I was working in the arts myself, I can bring a lot of these people back. Our first one that I can tell you about, we'll have some before her, but September, Jill Alexander will be there, and she was a student of mine and was very active in the theater program. Excellent student. She now lives in California, and she went to Northwestern, got her degree in theater, and then she went out to California, and she's in all kinds of things. If you watch any television at all, when you see her, if you come to her talk, you'll recognize her because she's been in a little bit over 75 national commercials. She's in a lot of Hallmark commercials. She's been on programs like Modern Family, The Middle. She was in Mad Men, a whole bunch of different things. So what she's going to do, she doesn't want to do any kind of performance or improv or anything, which is she's very good at, but she is going to tell us about what it's like being an actress in Hollywood. And she was in a movie too. I saw her movie. It's an independent film. It will be on TV one of these days. It'll be available. But she's a great speaker, and I think it's going to be fun for everyone. But what I'm excited about is the fact that we can use the multipurpose room over at Lafino.
Right.
Perfect for that type of thing. And we don't have to get the schools involved in that. We are going to get the schools involved in other things, but at this point, I thought it would really be, it's a good place. They're getting more chairs for there, and I think it's just more of an intimate space than in an auditorium or something. So we're going to have some other people. I have several other people in mind. Some of them I have to catch them when they're going to be back in town and all that, but I'm trying to do it this summer too. So there'll be other people coming to that series. Also, we are working on a possible variety show. The variety show is very simple because you get a theme for it. It's not a talent show. You just open it up for auditions, and people come and they do their own little act, and then you decide if they're going to be in it or not. And then they practice a couple times with the whole show, and then you have the show. But the reason I want to do this is try to get people used to a performance in Beavercreek. And then I'm going to set up with the superintendent and others at the school some time for next summer when we'll have a full Beavercreek musical for families. And this is the why. I just want to talk about it at a variety show. I thought that would get things going. Other things that we're working on, we may have some writing classes coming up. We're going to do some literary things too. We're just trying to, get going here, and it takes a while to get all of this stuff going. But without Lafino Plaza, that really helps us out with the meeting room and the other room. It's just great. So, and the unassigned space is now the gallery. So I think that probably gets you up to date. And as I have something important that's coming up, I'll come. I'll probably stop by your meetings and just fill you in on what's going on. Okay. Oh, the art festival, the art fest that Tabitha Godone runs. It's in September, and we will have a CAC booth there to tell everybody about what's going on. Okay, thank you. Any questions? No?
Well, don't sit down.
Oh. These to pass out too. Oh dear.
So we missed you.
Oh, I missed that volunteer thing. I love going to that.
Thing. And we wanted to take a moment to recognize you and all of everything that you've done as part of the park board for the last 6 years. I will read this. I feel kind of like the mayor when they have resolutions or proclamations, right?
Yeah.
Right. I'll never be the mayor, but I can channel him for this, right? The City of Beavercreek Parks Recreation Culture Department recognizes and appreciates Sandy Falk for 6 years of outstanding service and contributing efforts to the success of the Parks Recreation Culture Board. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a surprise.
We miss you and appreciate you and are excited about what you share with us regarding
I'm going to
arts.
be working on this a lot. This is my goal and kind of my dream to get things like this going. So
Sounds
you will
awesome.
see me.
Thanks, Sandy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thanks again, Sandy. That's very exciting, things that are coming up, and I'm looking forward to going over to the plaza and seeing the art exhibits. Which moves us to the division report, and I believe Aaron's going to provide that tonight.
Good evening. As always, we still are starting with a benefit of the month of Parks and Recreation. This month we have that parks are the places that people go to get healthy and stay fit. And they included a photo there of a young man who is fishing at our fishing derby that we held in May. And it's a little camouflaged with the grass there, but you can see the fish on the end of that hook there. And hopefully you can see that smile on his face. So we have a 6-month update on our goals and objectives here for June. We're halfway through the year. And so we're sharing with you the goals that you first saw in the annual report and the status that we're at with each of those goals. So we'll start with the senior center. The first goal is to contact area clubs, groups, churches, and organizations to increase the number of volunteers by 10%. As you know, volunteer recruitment and finding volunteers at the senior center, while there are many volunteers who offer a lot of their time and efforts, we're always looking for more volunteers. So this is something that is a work in progress right now as letters are being prepared, and there's been some verbal conversations with some of the groups that we will be reaching out to more formally in the future. The second goal is new transportation software. We've been using a volunteer set up access database to run our transportation program, and it's grown to a point where we need software for it. There are some great options, and one of the options is that working with Green Cats to see if we can potentially share software with Green Cats to run our transportation program, but we're also securing additional proposals and quotes from other vendors by the end of this month to figure out the best options for our needs. A third goal, again pertaining to the transportation program, review and evaluate the transportation program to identify the number of volunteers needed for current and future operations. This is ongoing, and we're continuing to recruit new volunteers. Two goals that may seem a little bit more daunting to some of our staff members who maybe don't like to put things like manuals together, as exciting as some of the other goals, but creating a volunteer manual and a transportation manual for each van. Both of those, the goal is still to be complete by the end of the fourth quarter. And then actively promote the benefits of joining the senior center and increasing membership by 5%. We have done taken several steps to reach this goal, and it's obviously still an ongoing thing, but spoken to Greene County Adult Protective Services interdisciplinary team to share what we do at the senior center, as well as securing, we've got a whole page that actually happens in the Beavercreek News Current, I believe each month. And we're sharing more information with our partners like the Greene County Council on Aging and at other variety of senior special events. Moving over to the recreation side, we have to promote Lafino Plaza for public programs and meetings for various organizations. You can see a photo there of a meeting happening in the meeting room at Lafino Plaza. Since October of 2017, which is when we did the ribbon cutting, we've had 132 meetings in the space. So we thought that was pretty good. Our second goal was to host an Arbor Day event in conjunction with the Tree City USA efforts. We did that on April 27th in cooperation with the new Tree Advisory Board. And you can see a photo there of some of our council members doing a ceremonial tree planting out at Lafino Park at that event. And then the third one that actually happened the day before was to facilitate a volunteer recognition event with the Park Board. So thank you, Park Board, for helping us meet that goal. And we recognized approximately 100 volunteers that day out at the golf club. A fourth goal was to build our partnership with the Greene County Public Libraries. This is something that made sense to both agencies. And so we've got several parts to what we're doing this year with the public library. We've got 4 family nature programs slated, so 1 per quarter or 1 per season. And we completed our spring family nature program, which was Spring Has Sprung, in April. We've got a monthly adult program each of the warmer months, that April through October. We did April program and a May program already, with programs slated for the rest of the season. And then we're working on scheduling some library storytime visits at summer camp, just this month and next month. Another goal was to partner and build our partnership with Decoy Art Center to run financially successful winter and spring break day camps. Unfortunately, our spring break camp was canceled due to low enrollment, and the winter camp that we did have last year didn't do quite as well as we'd hoped, so we've decided to put those plans on hold for now. They're doing great on their own, and some of our other camps are doing well, so we thought we'll stick with that for now. Our goal number 6 has to do with those Lafino Plaza spaces. This one in particular, the multipurpose room. The goal is to have 2 programs per day, both at CI Beaver Hall and at Lafino Plaza. We're not there yet, but we do have new programs added, including Drums Alive, Tada Nature Adventures, Taekwondo, and family yoga classes. And the plaza space we found is also being used conveniently to decrease the amount of times we've had to cancel classes at the senior center because of the proximity, and you can just come down the hallway. When they have special events at the senior center in the great room, they were having to cancel the other programs that were supposed to go on. So now we're able to alleviate that with the extra space down there. So we've got some numbers in items C and D below. Lafino Plaza was utilized 23 of the 31 days in May, but only 4 of those days had 2 or more programs scheduled in them for the multipurpose room. And then CI Beaver was utilized 26 of the 31 days. And remember, for CI Beaver, that number includes rentals, like graduation parties. So 18 of those days had 2 or more events in them. So we're not quite there, but we're getting there. So ongoing with CI Beaver Hall, we also not only wanted to increase the use at Lafino Plaza, we wanted to increase the rentals at CI Beaver Hall by 10%. And we had, by May 30th this year, 25 reservations for the year, which is just 3 more than we had on May 30th in 2017. So, yeah, there's 10%. That's 3 more. We'll review those numbers again at the end of the year. Another big time, besides graduation parties, which those May 30th numbers would probably hit about half of those graduation parties. The holiday time, Thanksgiving, Christmas, those types of end of the year holiday time is a big CI Beaver rental time as well. And number 8 is sending quarterly surveys relating to programming and classes to identify improvements in offerings. And we're planning to send out summer camp surveys at the end of the summer program. And then program surveys for all of our programs by the end of June. Number 9. Identify new sponsors to donate to the Camper Scholarship Fund and send 5 additional children to camp. We're kind of in the middle of this right now as summer camp has just started. But in addition to Feed the Creek, which has donated generously in the past, we also added Beavercreek Kiwanis to our sponsors for this Camp Scholarship Program. And number 10. We're always trying to increase our special event donations so that we can cover ideally 100%, but the goal this year is 90% of our event costs. So we did a little list of the big events so far this year. Our summer kickoff was covered in full, as was our fishing derby, and our 4th of July is on track to be covered in full as well. Our concert series needs some help still. With the total price coming in just under $2,500 for the entire series. And we've got sponsorship dollars for that series at $850 right now. So you can see we're well below 90% in that one. That ends our goals update, and I'm going to continue with a few events. Does anyone have any questions on the top of their mind about the goals right now? Or do you want to hold those until the end? You're good. All right, we've got 3 more Party in Your Park opportunities. The next one being June 22nd at Stafford Park. We love putting on these events for the community and connecting with the neighbors and providing updates about improvements coming to your parks in the next year or several years. And our summer concert series, we do want to thank 7-Up and the Beavercreek Women's League for sponsoring our summer concert series. And of course, we're always happy to include more sponsors on that sponsorship listing. But the next concert coming up this weekend is our Sauerkraut German Band. This is always a community favorite. So come on out on Sunday evenings at 7 p.m. to the park and enjoy the concert series. And of course, the 4th of July is actually going to be here before we know it. We want to thank UES for their generous sponsorship of this event. The event would not be possible without their support. And we've got our parade at 6 o'clock, followed by activities and celebration, food trucks and children's activities and entertainment from 7 to 10. Oh, and a dunk tank featuring some of your favorite community members. That's new this year. We'll be out at Rotary Park as well, so we can't wait for that. And of course, to top off the evening, the UES fireworks show at 10 o'clock. Those are the big things coming up. What questions can I answer for you?
So are they still short drivers then at the
Always.
senior center? Really?
We were just talking about this last week at our staff meeting, and they said right now they're doing pretty well. But with volunteers always, you know, we don't make them approve their vacation requests with us. So they do get days off if they need them, or sometimes people have surgeries or medical things that come up. Winters seem to be pretty hard because we've got a lot of active people who go down to those warmer places in the winter time. We struggled then. They said they're doing okay, but we always like to have new people in training.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? Thanks, Aaron.
You're welcome.
And now we've got fresh meat. It's like Zach is going to give us the park report. We've been saving up questions for you.
I appreciate that. For Zach,
Okay, thank you. All right, well, just to continue on with Aaron's presentation, I'll be updating you guys on parks and the goals that we set from the beginning of the year. So this year we have 3 new playgrounds we're going to be installing, and the first one is at Gershbacher Park, which is currently underway. The weather that we had this spring really kind of put us behind about a month, so we got started way later than we anticipated, but everything now is rolling. We'll be pouring concrete this week, and the playground will be in motion. So all the playgrounds will be delivered together to save on shipping costs. Those will be coming in the next few weeks. Currently at Gershbacher, we've installed all the drainage, and then, like I said, this week we'll start pouring concrete for all the curbing and all the sidewalks. We have had a group of Girl Scouts who kind of given themselves the name of the Silver Squad. They have started prepping the shelter and the swing set for new paint. So they've contracted with a company to do all the power washing, and they're going to start painting later this week. The community playground built date is set for July 7th. And then once the playground is all put together and our staff finishes everything up, inspects it, and installs all of the mulch, our projected opening date is sometime in the middle of July. And a few of the photos from the current project. The one on the left is installing some of the drainage and getting that going. And then the photo on the right is from this morning of our staff out there. They've been busy working in the rain and in the mud, prepping for sidewalks. Merrick Park will be after Gershbacher. Our goal is to start that sometime in mid-July. Merrick is going to be a smaller playground structure. It's going to be predominantly a slide, climber combo like you see in this photo, as well as a swing set and a concrete pad with a picnic table, shade structure, and a grill. We've had a lot of great community involvement in planning this playground, which was fantastic, and we're really excited to give this small community the park and playground structure that they want. We're hoping, if everything goes to track with the weather, that we can finish this project around the middle of August. Finally, the last playground we'll install is at Rotary Park, and this one is in conjunction with Beavercreek Township through a NatureWorks grant. Our goal is to start this one in early August, mid-August, kind of depending on where we stand with finishing up Merrick. With this park, Beavercreek Township is going to assist us quite a bit with a lot of the concrete work. There's going to be close to 100 yards of concrete being installed. We'll have concrete paths to connect the restroom, parking lot, shelter, and new playground. Hopefully, if everything goes well, this playground will open sometime early September. We also have a goal of installing new parking for overflow at Shoup. This is badly needed. I think you have all probably been there on the weekend, and there's parking all over the place. I know I've seen it with my family and myself. This project, we wanted to include earlier in the year, but with some of the weather and the other projects going on, we've had to push this one back. We're hoping to get this started in the fall. At least go ahead and start with the grading and getting some of the parking lot shaped out, putting in gravel. If we have time this fall to pave it, if not, we may have to push the paving back until next spring. You can see in the photo outline, projection of where the parking lot will be extended out to. That's not an exact outline, but it's a rough estimate of how much larger that parking lot will be. Another goal is to create a 10-year Parks Master Plan. This project is off and going. Back in late April, we had RFQ interviews. We had 3 companies submit a proposal for the project. We interviewed 2 of them. And Branstetter Carroll, who did the last Parks Master Plan, was the vendor we selected to move forward with. We have signed the contract, and currently we're in the initial steps of gathering data, developing a steering committee, and really starting getting the ball rolling. Our goal is to have a big kickoff event in conjunction with Movie in the Park at Dominic Lafino Park on August 10th, where we'll get a lot of community involvement, and a goal of having the final master plan in place early next year. Tree replacement at Gershbacher and Spicer Heights. These are Gershbacher's been replaced this year, or being replaced this year, and Spicer Heights was recently, the playground was installed there. And these parks are both in need of some new trees. I just met with an Eagle Scout who's going to be installing and planting trees at Gershbacher this fall. He's looking to plant 15 to 20 trees there, half of which will be donated or paid for by the city, and the other half he will seek donations for. Our staff will also plant 10 to 15 trees at Spicer Heights. And fall is really the ideal time to be planting all the trees. We'll plant them, and then they'll root in and be very healthy going into next season. And also to combat some of the issues we've had with trees, and especially the emerald ash borer, we're going to be planting a diverse selection of trees. So it won't be a mono stand of trees. This will be 5, 6, 7 different varieties of trees to be planted. And again, all trees will be planted late fall. We also want to grow Adopt a Park by 2 parks. And while we don't have anyone that has adopted a park yet, I wanted to highlight a few of the service projects where people have spent a great deal of amount of time in the parks working. We just recently had an Eagle Scout complete putting up a new metal roof on the shelter at Spicer Heights, which you can see in the picture. We had another Eagle Scout just finished building compost bins at Wardinger Park. He just finished this past weekend. They're just behind the Ankeny House if you want to check them out. He worked with Bob Bader and used a lot of the old antique barn siding on the outsides of the compost bin. We have the Silver Squad working on the shelter and swings at Gershbacher. And we also have an Eagle Scout installing this weekend the story walk posts at Dominic Lafino Park. So that'll be happening Saturday. And then, like I just said, we'll have another Eagle Scout planting the trees at Gershbacher. As far as identifying a couple organizations to adopt a park, I've had 2 groups reach out to me this year that I think have potential of adopting a park, one being GE Aviation and the other Hillside Chapel.
Zach, who reached out to you from Hillside?
I believe his name was John Emmons.
Okay. Well, my son's on staff there, just if you need help.
Okay, that'd be wonderful. Also, we want to identify and seek out volunteer groups to help clean up the parks. We've had quite a few volunteers, and I'm sure I don't have every single one of them up here, but looking back through a lot of my emails and notes, the Church of the Nazarene is awesome about helping us out. Same as the Master Gardeners, the Kiwanis. Hillside Chapel has done some work with us. GE Aviation is new this year, as well as Wright State University Student Government. And then we had a group of Girl Scout daisies. I think they were rather young girls come out and clean up the park on Earth Day. And we're looking to always reach out with other Girl Scout and Boy Scout groups. We seem to get a lot of volunteers from from scouts looking for projects and just troops wanting to help clean up the parks. And then just continue to reach out to all the community churches and service groups. The final goal is to obtain Tree City USA designation. Earlier this year, we formed a tree commission. There's a tree board that they meet monthly. They're a great group of people. I think they're going to be very beneficial moving forward. We also held our first Arbor Day on April 27th with a proclamation from Mayor Stone. And part of becoming a Tree City USA, you have to spend $2 per capita on tree-related expenses. So we just met this morning as a group, and the current expenses is just over $37,000, which is about 41% of where we need to be, $2 per capita. So we're a community of about 46,000 people, so we need to be right at that $92,000 mark or so for the year. That includes, contracted tree removal, tree replacement, going to any tree seminars, pruning trees. It's pretty detailed as far as everything we do for our tree-related expenses. And then our staff will put all of this information together, and then late November we will apply for Tree City USA designation. And I'd love to answer any questions you may have.
No questions, but a comment on the adoptive park. In the past, Wright State Campus Rec did some work at Point Royal. It's been a little over a year, but you can put us down for the fall. Once students come back, we'll want to go back out there and
I'd love to.
and
And
help again.
I can be the point of contact to work with.
Good deal.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zach. Good job. All right, that moves us up to old business. I don't have any on my agenda. If somebody has something they want to remind me of, I'm open for that. Hearing none.
No.
We can move on to new business, and I know there's some upcoming volunteer opportunities. I assume, is that Kim sharing that?
Why would you assume that? I want to take part in the meeting.
Everybody else has talked, so it's your turn. Right?
We do have some upcoming events, and both Aaron and Zach covered some of them, but I'd also like to highlight them. So the first one coming is a week from Friday, Stafford Park, Party in the Park. As you remember, we are trying to, as we go to these Party in the Parks, let the neighborhood know exactly what we're thinking for their park next year. And so trying to get plans swirling and get their ideas. 2 weeks ago, we were at Seville Park, and the neighbors came out and got a lot of great ideas about what they want their playground to look like, what things that they might want to stay at the park, what things, yeah, no, seriously, get rid of that, and we want this. So a lot of great ideas, a lot of things that we can build off of and put something together. So the first one was a great success. So now we're looking to do that at Stafford. So if any of the park board members would like to come out that night, again, just to kind of help and talk to everybody, that'd be fantastic. After that is our 4th of July. Aaron touched on it a little bit, and of course, Zach with our master plan. We are going to, before we even do our big kickoff at the movie, is we're going to start getting surveys out. So as part of our master plan process, and again, this is a 10-year plan that will guide the Parks and Recreation. So it's really community driven and what we want the community to do. I could easily put together a 10-year plan, which I think would be awesome, but it's not the Kim Farrell 10-year plan, it's just Beavercreek's plan. So we'll be doing a lot of surveys. So at the 4th of July, we would like to have a booth or a table, just say, hey, here's everything that Parks and Recreation has going on for the rest of the year, but not only that, hand out surveys. And that's going to be a survey that they don't take, they fill out, and it comes back to us. If they don't have the opportunity, July 4th, it'll certainly be online, and there'll be a statistically valid survey. July 7th, we have our Gershbacher community build. So we'd love to have all of you out there for that. July 13th will be our Party in the Park at Nutter Park. Again, basically same setup that we've done at Seville, Stafford, just a different park. Zach will be out there at that one. And then I don't know if you want to say the biggie. So one of the things, again, so as we look at the master plan and the steering committee, I would like to have 2 members from our park board be a part of that steering committee. So that's going to be a monthly meeting, and it's kind of that liaison between the steering committee and park board. So those individuals would come back out to our park board and say, hey, here's what we're finding, here's what's going on with the master plan. So that's something if you want to kind of think about throughout the evening, if we want to say, people want to jump in right now. But we're looking to do the first meeting June 28th. And so we're going to be moving pretty quickly. So, there you go.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I think we can take a minute to talk about that. I don't think you're going to have any trouble finding 2 people that are willing to. I think, I certainly would like to be involved in that, but
Okay.
I want to see what the other members thought. I know you had mentioned some of us serve in a number of capacities, so we may still be involved representing another group rather than just the park board.
Absolutely.
Any other thoughts?
I don't know if you would want to, but I can, or you can, or.
I'm willing as well.
So is it something that we could do? The park board could also be a part of the steering committee, or is that not something you want?
I don't understand your
Well,
question.
I think
Well,
there'll be opportunities for input regardless of whether you're actually on the
Okay.
steering committee or not, right? I think, yeah, right.
Yes, yes, so thank you. So, even, like, so we have like 2, 3 members from Park Board. Branstetter Carroll will also get all of you together, and there'll be a focus group. So the 5 of you sit down with Branstetter Carroll and say, all right, here's the whole big drop of information through that also. Yes, but what we want to make sure, we're trying to keep the steering committee about like 12 to 15, so we don't want to take
Yeah.
a third of it from one group.
I can, yeah, I think you should. I'm fine with that.
Well, we've certainly got a number of
You have
folks
to
that are
put names
interested.
in.
Yeah, I mean, I guess one of my questions is, you willing to do it, or do you really want to do it?
I'd be glad to do it.
Right, and I don't,
Yeah.
and even if you're nothing's wrong with either one of those,
Right.
just if there's,
I don't want to take it from somebody else, but I would be
okay,
happy to
that's
do it.
part of what I wanted. I mean, speak for myself, I would really like to be involved. I'm
Yeah.
back down, ground in recreation, I enjoyed the process
Right.
and would like to learn, and I can use that in my job as well.
Yeah. And I would enjoy it, so.
Well, there you go.
So is it,
And I have time, yeah.
I was waiting for you to speak up.
right, we can paper, rock, scissors if we want to.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to try it out.
This is
as a new
recreation,
member.
let's do
Yeah.
dodgeball.
When is it going to meet, like evenings, daytime, do you know?
I don't, so the first one's gonna be the evening, and then after that, we're gonna see what the steering committee looks like and what their thoughts are. If a daytime evening works great, awesome. If not, then it'll probably be evenings. That's my guess is we'll fall out and it'll be mostly evenings.
Right, generally, you're probably gonna have community members.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
So where did we land?
well, I don't know. I mean, we
Candy
can,
is the vice, so I said I'd pass it to her.
oh,
That's fine. Go ahead.
can you
So,
be my sub?
So Eric and Candy.
so Candy and I will represent the park board.
Thank you.
Is everybody all right with that?
We are totally all right
Okay.
with that.
Thank you. Anybody want to say anything about the volunteer events? Anybody see one that they think they could commit to at this point?
I'm doing some for 4th of July.
Yep, I'll be here for 4th of July as well. And try to get out to Gersbacher as well.
Right.
I can do community day.
That'd be fun. Yeah, I'll be out of town most of that week, that 4th of July week. I'll come out to Nutter Park for the party in the park. And then August 10th, I want to be involved you didn't really mention. I don't know, did you mention that specifically? I don't know if you did, but.
I did not. We'll have a whole list for at the next meeting, but yes, certainly keep August 10th in the back of your heads too, because we'll have.
It's so fun.
Yeah, along with there's a lot going to be going on that evening, so certainly additional help would be fantastic.
What's the movie?
Peter Rabbit.
Oh, that's right.
We weren't really ready to give away the title, but that's okay.
You could have said, I'm not ready to give away the title yet. Just blurted it out.
Actually, just messing
Super
with you.
secret security, don't tell Kim, because she'll just blurt it out if you just ask her, right?
Don't tell anybody.
Right.
But
I think your secret is safe. All right. All right, anything else in new business? Not seeing any unscheduled visitors. Moving on to action items. Again, I don't have anything at this point. We'll, from an action item standpoint, obviously, what we just discussed, there'll be opportunities in the near future, both with the steering committee and with the board as a whole to provide input for the master plan. So I think we'll move on to board time then. And why don't we start sharing down on your end?
All right. I just had a question about the story walk. When is that begin to be open? I saw that the Eagle Scout was putting them in this week. Is that when it was? So then if the library needs to then put stories in, is that what it is? Okay.
That's correct. The library, they're projecting to have their first story in the 1st of July. And then the big kickoff event will also coincide with Movie in Your Park. So that's going to be a big evening.
Yes. Exciting.
Awesome.
My turn?
Yes, please.
All right. The Owens Place Committee would like to thank the city for their work keeping up the baseball diamonds for their baseball team and just maintaining the whole area. They said that it looks great and they appreciate all the effort that's gone into that. And they'd also like to put a shout out to the master gardeners who have put in a butterfly garden and a shade garden. They're getting ready to, once the sensory beds are actually, they're built, the Ankeny students built them, they'll be cemented in place the end of July. So whether or not those sensory beds will be ready this year is up in the air, but the master gardeners are taking care of all that and they've just been fantastic. For an update, there's plans to put in a bathroom that should be towards the end of July, beginning of August. And also they'd like to put out that the Dayton Dragons game on July 28th is a fundraiser. It's $10 and we'll have a set lawn space for whoever buys the tickets. $5 of your ticket will come back to Owens Place, and for your ticket you get entrance and a hat. So you can go on the Dayton Dragons website and look for July 28th, and it should be listed there. And it's a nice fundraiser. And also the baseball team from Owens Place, those teams will all be there to do the walk around the bases and everything too. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Candy. Dan? Christina?
I would just like to say that I
Ricky.
continue to be impressed with the diversity that the parks have in Beavercreek, from the senior center all the way down to, the toddler programs with, the nature walks and things like that. I just every month I'm just impressed by all of the work that you do. So thank you to the whole staff for everything that you guys do.
Great, thank you, Christina. Yeah, I would echo that. Not only diversity of parks, but also diversity of programs. I teach a 1-hour recreation management class in the summer, and we really just talk about sports program the whole time. But I do mention that there are other things like culture and social programming. And I showed them some pictures from the Miss Beavercreek pageant in class Monday night to show them that there are other kinds of programs. So I did want to mention that. I assume it'll be in the next park board meeting report, so I won't talk much about it. But past Friday night was Miss and Miss Junior Beavercreek competition, and it was a great time as it has been from the beginning, and a lot of amazing young women were recognized there and celebrated. So looking forward to the new Miss Beavercreek, Eliana Cade, and Miss Junior Beavercreek, Emily Kuchera. Look forward to them representing our community throughout the next year.
you're going to see them in action at the 4th of July. Because not only would they be in the parade and on stage, we're going to dunk them.
As soon as we ask them and they agree to do it, right? Right.
No, it's not an option.
I can go back and write that in the script that that's a requirement, right? And then Sharon actually was involved as well Monday night. Now, thank you and the judges for being involved in that. So I think that's it. With that, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion to
Do we
adjourn.
have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.